Hey, everybody, let's take a look at Module 6. Module 6 is the first of three modules that will get us ready to submit the final paper for this semester, which is the researched argument. And what this module is really going to focus on is the actual research part. Now, I know that several of you are probably going to look at this and the different assignments and just roll your eyes and go, oh God, no. This is just too much. I can do this so much quicker. And yes, I know a lot of people think they can. But I think the real challenge for us is going to be is not just doing it the right way, but ensuring that we know the process by which to get the best possible sources. We want to know not just that I have a source, but I need to know what that source is, how that source backs me up, and how do I know it's a valid source that's going to support my argument and really help my audience buy into it, right? That's really what we're going to be focusing on. So this is called researching the conversation. And again, what that means then is like, here's the topic and here's what people are saying about it, right? Being able to discover what people are saying and be able to evaluate those. We have our learning materials, our assignments, and then our objectives for what we're doing. And then obviously, of course, this is going to bring us up to our first some instructions about our big writing assignment. Again, this one is going to be due, the half draft will be due on week 7 or module 7, and the final draft will be due module 8. So there is some distance on this one, okay? There is some distance on this one. But this one is the argument. Now, when we think about argument, one of the things that we want to be very clear on, we're not talking about arguing with people, right? Argument is, this is my stand on the issue. And here's my stand, and I want to show you why I have it and why you should have it. And I'm going to try to persuade you to do this, right? I'm going to persuade you to either strengthen your position, that's the same as mine, or I'm going to call you over to my side, right? So this is what we're looking at. The half draft, which will be, again, will be due week 7, okay? An academic essay between 600 and 700 words. The final draft will be at least 1,250 to 1,500 words, at least 3 different sources that are cited. In this, the argumentative essay, you're going to start with an argumentative thesis statement that clearly says, here's a problem, and this is how we can address it, right? Like, this is the way to address it. You're trying to get us to that point. Your introductory paragraph obviously gets our attention, sets up the tone, sets up the topic, and then delivers that thesis statement. And then the body is going to build these, is going to build that argument. Here's what the information is. Here's what the problem is. Here's why it's a problem. Here's what we can do about it. Here's how we can fix this, right? You may use APA or MLA style, okay, either one. And the half draft, again, which is due on module 7, like I've told you before, and several of you have seen the benefits of that, I'm sure. Some of you are turning in 3/4, if not full drafts, right? The more draft you turn in, the more feedback you're going to get. I mean, think about this. Like, when you turn in the half draft and I give you feedback or you get peer feedback on a discussion board, you're only getting feedback on half of the paper. If you turn in more than that, you get more feedback, right? There's more input to help you improve your work. So, I really want you to think about, like, this paper is probably the one most people enjoy because it is really in our human nature to identify, like, hey, here's a thing and I can fix that, right? Like, I know how we should do this. This is really in our roundhouse, and I think a lot of people really enjoy this type of paper because it is something that we are familiar with. This is also really important because this is a way for you to show your learning in your other classes. It's not just here is a solution, right? Like, you're in your pre-med class, you're in your computer science class, you're in your early childhood class, and you're presented with a challenge and you have an answer. Here's what should be happening, right? This is not just stating what that is, but really arguing other people, like, this is why we think it is. This is why I think it is, and this is why you should too. So this one is a really common paper that you're going to write in a lot of your other classes.
Okay, if I turn the wall lights off, please.
No problem. Go ahead. Sorry about that. We're going to start with our closed research theme background check-in. Now, this one's a little bit different. You're going to choose one of the background readings. Now, those are the ones listed at the bottom of our readings, okay? Those are the ones at the bottom of the readings. And this gives you some additional context. You've been reading different articles. You've been reading different pieces, you know. The background tends to be a little bit deeper. They are a little bit more, there's a lot more data, a lot more deep dive into them. They're a little bit longer, okay? And they really help you build that kind of context for that issue that you were looking at. As you do this for the check-in, you're going to answer one of these, at least one of these questions, okay? How does it fit? How does it relate to the readings I've already read, right? Like, so as you think about the ones that you've already read, how does it fit? Does it explain it? Does it contrast it? Does it give you a better enrichment or meaning? Does it guide you toward the theme? How does it help you in responding to that theme that we've been looking at in technology and how it's impacting us? Does it bring in a new angle? Does it give me something new and fresh to look at? Or does it suggest like there's another way that I can look at it, right? So you have a lot of different options that you may look at and do. This one, again, you know, the idea of the check-ins is just to like get you to be reading other articles, to get other, familiar with other things, right? Like that's really important because as you get ready to do the research paper, it's going to give you a better sense of the largest picture, right? We are going to ask you to do some library searching using the library databases. Now, I know I've talked about this before, about how when we go out and we Google search something, one of the biggest challenges that we have is like, how do I know this is real legit information? Some of the sources are obvious, right? If you go to some of those mainstream medias, some of those legacy professional groups, you might, those are pretty comfortable. Maybe if it's a person that you can verify their credentials or a site that you can find credentials for, okay, we're kind of okay with that authority. But really, when you go out and you search like that, that's really difficult because it's like, how do I know this is legit information? One of the great things about our library database is that the sources that are included in these databases, they're already vetted. We know that's good information. We know that. Now, you don't have to agree with the information in it, right? Like you can well, they say this, but they don't have this picture, or this is why that's not right, or here's the opposite, right? That you're not going to find like just one viewpoint in here, right? You'll find multiple viewpoints. But we know that all the sources that these databases use are legit. Okay, we know that they're good sources. There is a tutorial video in our resources folder that talks about how to access and work the databases that you can use. There's also some information here that will help you as well. But you're going to use those library databases to find an article that you can use to answer this exercise. This one's going to walk you through. It's a really straightforward exercise, but it asks you to what are you searching? How did you search it? What did you find? And all those pieces of information. So you know that this source, like you would have all the information you need to cite that source, to reference that source, and to use that source in your paper. If we go to the Module 6 discussion, again, we're expanding that research, right? We're expanding that research, okay? What we're going to do then is we're going to use either the background reading or the sources that you found on your database search, right? Like when you're back there doing your database search, the article you use for that, you can use here. So you can either do your background reading from your check-in, or you can use this one from your database search. Okay. And then what you're going to do is you are going to use it, whichever one it is, to explain the angles of problem you're interested in pursuing. Okay. So what hopefully has been happening is that you've been reading all these different articles, you've been looking at other people's, what their work is, you've been exposed to these different things, and you've got all these different ideas under that big, large umbrella of, how is technology changing our lives? You have that big, broad topic, and you're looking at all these different pieces. You're going to be able to kind of narrow in on one particular question that you can do. look at, right? And so what we're asking then is that you're going to go ahead and you're going to come in here and say, this is what I'm thinking about. These are the things I want to do, right? Again, using one of those articles as a touchstone for that, okay? And what you're doing is you're introducing us to that source, okay? And then you're showing us what it's leading you to think about, like what is it that you want to write about now? Now, you're going to go in and respond to at least 2 or more people, right? And we have a list of different comments that you might use here, right? Some questions, some guiding questions. The big thing that we hope to see in this discussion board is as you are responding to each other, you're helping them think about that topic a little bit more and get into that place where they can really kind of narrow it down. This is the thing I'm going to write about. This is the piece I want to look at. Here's what I want to really focus on, right? When we, obviously, again, it's exploring and expanding, right? One of the big challenges that we always face in writing is that you don't know what it is that you don't know. And it doesn't mean like, I don't know it, so therefore I have zero knowledge in that. It's, I don't know the things that are out there to know about something. I don't know what I need to know that my audience wants to know. I don't know what other people expect or need to know or know. And so by adding in these other perspectives and people saying, I think about this, and this is what I think about, it helps you take your topic and kind of be able to draw it out and explore what you're really wanting to write about. So this could be really helpful. We have some supplemental materials like we always do, how to do your APA or MLA style, how to find your sources, and then we're going to look at our writing assignment for this module. And this one isn't like writing as like writing a paper. This is writing a mini annotated bibliography. Okay. Now, you're going to use 2 sources. Okay. You're going to look at 2 sources. And you're going to annotate those sources for us. And I want you to think of it as you're selling this to us. You're saying, hey, here's some sources and here's why I think they're good and they're valid and why you should believe in this too, right? You're trying to sell this to us. Now, one of the things I want you to really think about, okay, is use the resources that are available, right? Use the resources that are available.